friends. Welcome to Clock's newest webinar. We're so excited. We're really glad that you decided to join us. What we're going to do today, of course, is to show you what we did in the last month or so, what kind of new features, what kind of new enhancements we added to the already powerful Clock PMS Plus. I guess first off, we would need to introduce ourselves. My name is Martin. I'm taking care of sales, new customers, acquisitions on our end. I have two of my dearest colleagues with me here today, Ilya and Dragomir. Guys, I would allow you to introduce yourselves too.
Hi, good afternoon or good morning to everyone. And for those who are joining us for the second time, welcome back. And for those who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And hopefully this webinar will be very beneficial for you in learning the new stuff that we add to the system or improve in the system.
Hello from me as well, and indeed welcome back to those of you joining us for a second time. I'm hopeful that we'll be showing something very, very beneficial in today's webinar, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. So before we dive into the new features, folks, there is a Q&A section right at the bottom of your screen in Zoom. Please feel free to ask any questions. Of course, preferably they need to be related to the subject that we're discussing today. Please also try to keep it short. And again, on the subject, if there is anything larger in terms of a question, potentially we might be forwarding this to our support department, so they'll be following up on your question later on. So the agenda today. So we guess that most of you decided to join us because of the progress rates. Many of you have been missing those for some time. Yes, they're here. Before we focus on them, however, we would like to take your attention to the so-called quality of life improvements. So these are kind of small, but still really nice and really, significant in a way improvements to reports and to the interface of the booking engine. So I guess, guys, over to you to give some more details on those.
Thanks, Martin. So hi to everyone again. So basically, yeah, we have these small improvements that do help you out quite a bit. We've done two improvements to the some of the reports in the system. And also we have done a couple of improvements, very, very cool improvements to the web reservation system, to the guest-facing side of the web reservation system. And basically now I'm just going to showcase to you what those improvements are. And we'll start with those in the reports. Now, due to popular demand and the natural progression of things and the improvements of all our features, now the agent is available as a segment in all of the segmentation reports. So that is referring to the booking segmentation report, chart segmentation report, and the bed nights report. So here now you see the agent available as a segment. So this way you'll be able to generate these reports per segment agent and get the information from all the bookings in which a company profile is basically selected as an agent. So feel free to use this. Obviously, we added the agent functionality about a year ago, and we've gradually improved and added to it and added it into the other functionalities in the system. And obviously now it was time to add it into our segmentation reports. So now, from now on, you can use these reports and filter them by the segment agent. Now, the other improvement that we did, or the other report that we improved, is the Open Folio report. And this is going to be useful for the properties that heavily use events in Clock. Yeah, their popularity increases quite a lot of the events in mice module. And now you have in the Open Folio report essentially a segmentation of the open folios in events based on their status, checked-in status of the event, an expected status of the event, or even a cancel status. So this way you can easily track all your open folios in such events. Obviously, for me personally, the most important part is open folios in canceled events. So this way you can very easily actually track any canceled events with still open folios and basically manage those folios, either avoid them if they're not necessary for anything, or basically issue an invoice if you need to charge some cancellation fee to your guests that canceled that event. Now, the other improvements that we did, as we mentioned already, are for the web reservation system and the guest-facing side. And basically, both of those improvements are controlled from the languages and text menu, so from menu other settings, languages and text. And here you see that we've added a new field, which is the credit card translations, and some other additions here to the web booking engine translation section. And the change which we did is actually giving you now the ability to change the number of the pages on the web reservation system. We have page 1, 2, or 3, or step 1, 2, or 3. Now you can change those with some words or some sentences, whatever. So basically here we have two sections, active state and inactive state, and you can enter the information or the text that the guest will see in both of those states. So here I have an example of our web reservation system. So now you see instead of 1, 2, and 3, we have enter dates, room and rates, and finalize. That is what I have entered here. Now these two steps here are in inactive state. So now when I go to one of those steps, you'll see now that it will change to select your room and rate, because that is what I have set to show when it is the page is active. So feel free to change this and to make it more interesting, instead of just plain numbers 1, 2, and 3, to have actual text and make it more clear. And of course, if you're using several languages on the web reservation system, please feel free to do that in all the languages that you use respectively, and translate them. Now, the other change that we did, or improvement that we did, is here in the credit card translations field. So now you can easily change the labels on the credit card form. So this is referring to our final step when we go to the web reservation system and when the guest selects a payment method. Basically, the next step, they will see information that you set there. The thing that is most important is that essentially this also works for any of the payment processors that you use. So if you're using ADN, or if you're using authorized.net as a payment processor, you will now be able to change the labels on these screens here. So as you can see, basically here I have set what will be showing on that form, basically. So again, for each language that you use, you are able to translate these labels for the credit card screen. And again, most importantly, this works with for all the payment processors. So it doesn't matter if you use ADN or authorized.net or any other, basically you will have this there. So these are the improvements that we did to the reports and to the web reservation system. And now, obviously, our next thing to explain is the big improvement or the big addition, the per guest rates. So Martin, over to you to say a couple of words about those.
Thanks, Ilya. As a matter of fact, looking at this, at those last updates, especially the ones for the booking engine, they look awesome. I mean, that's amazing. Indeed. How such a small thing, such a small improvement, seemingly actually makes such a difference. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to upgrade my demo account, so when I'm showing this to our prospects, I show this. It looks really nice.
Yeah,
and I can only imagine, how good it should be looking when, from a guest perspective, when the guest is browsing for the website and books online. So now to the let's talk about the creme de la creme, or the per guest rates. Some of you have been requesting this for some time. So as you already know, Clock has an extremely powerful rate management feature. So just to mention those base rates, derived rates, occupancy adaptable rates. We recently even introduced the hurdle rates. So the latest improvement is actually extremely suitable for a property, for a hotelier who's calculating their prices based on the number of occupants in each room, and especially when they take into account the age of the child. Even before, we had a workaround of this scenario. Although if you happen to explore this in details, you might be facing the moment when you have too many products to deal with. So when you open the rates and availability screen, you are looking at too many rates. In a way, I guess now with the new feature, this has been taken care of. So I think Dragomir is going to give us some more insights on the matter. So Dragomir, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Martin, for the elaboration on this. First and foremost, what we did alongside with all of the updates that we're trying to implement in Clock PMS, we need everything to be connected. So our current per guest rates actually intertwine very well with our current existing rates. What we did to prepare for this webinar is we created several per guest rates to show you as an example. So the first thing that you're going to notice is that this little symbol is determining whether a rate is per guest rate or a per room rate. An easy way to check that is through the edit tags button, where you can define a rate being per guest or per room. In addition, you can easily see from the rate search, as I mentioned, through this new icon. So furthermore, per guest rates can be both standard and derived. You can even go the extra mile and create an occupancy adaptable rate based on several rates, which are guest level based, and so on and so on. The next functionality that we added is the guest levels. But before I let Ilya dive into this in a bit more detail, currently the guest rates aren't supported by the channel managers, at least not yet. So on the guest levels, Ilya?
Yep, thanks, Dragomir. So yeah, this is a quite important point. Is before all of you start editing the rates and changing their rates to per guest rates and creating guest levels, please bear in mind that these rates are not yet possible to be connected to the channel managers and so on. So basically, these at the moment are mainly for operations or for tour operators and so on. And for the web reservation system in the most part. So please take note of that before start editing or changing your existing rates. So now the next step is obviously once we create or mark a rate to be per guest in its settings, the next step is to set up what our guest levels are. So here we have our room-only rate, which is a standard rate, standard per guest rate, and we have set a price of 200 euro in this rate. So essentially what this means is at the moment that this rate is at a cost of 200 euro for an adult. Now, we can basically be very simple in this setup where you can only select per guest rate here, and basically the system will know that every second, third guest, etc., will be 200 euros on top. So if you have a static price based on how many people there are, so increases statically with every other adult, you can just press per guest and set the price per adult here in the rate. However, if your prices for the second, third guest, or especially with the children involved, differ, then we have the guest levels here that we need to set up. So how do they work? Essentially, when we click on guest levels, is now we are telling the system how much is it going to be charged for adult and child and so on. And here we have our levels. So in this current example, what we have done is that we have firstly indicated the children. So as you can see at the top, we don't have an adult. So these are the children connected to the first adult. So one adult with one child up to 13 years of age or 12.99 will be at a zero additional cost, and another child which would be after until from 13 until 16 or 15.99 years of age will be 25 euros on top. Then we have our next level, which indicates the second adult. So in this case, 50 euro for the second adult. And so on, we continue with setting up the children levels based on the two adults. And then we have our third adult and the children levels connected to the third adult. So this way you are able to set here from the new button, you decide is it going to be the adult or the child level next, or specifically a child, and set the children age until which this price will apply, the additional price, or the percentage of the base price that will be added on top for that child. And the easiest way to test your levels and the calculations that the system will do is using our rate and availability screen, basically one of our most powerful tools in the system. And you can very easily check the work that you've done and are all calculations correct, and you get the result that you're looking for. So basically what we'll do now is I'm going to select my apartment and I'll set adult of 1. So now what we'll see is that our room only rate is suggested at a price of 200 euro. So that is the price that we have set here as a base price, or the price for one adult. However, now when we change to 2 adults, we'll see the price changing to 250. And that is because now our guest level kicks in, and we have said to the system, basically we have indicated to the system that the second adult is 50 euro on top of our base price. And if we do the same, we continue with the test with 3 adults, here now we see 275. And this is again coming from our level here, which indicates third adult is 25 euro on top. So this way you can very easily test the calculations. Obviously now when we add, for example, a child, the system will then again basically calculate what is the situation, what is the price. Obviously now it didn't change because yeah, our level for the child here is at a price of 25 euro. Additionally, we can also enter a child age here. So now in this case, I'm setting up 11 years of age. You see that this is a brand new field that we have added to the rate and availability screen. And now when we do a search, now we see that the price is now 250. And why is that? That is because we have our second adult with the 50 euro on top. However, our child here under 13 years of age, it comes at a 0 additional cost. So this way, the system now calculated what is the price in this situation. And yeah, we can continue with more examples. But actually on our update notes and also on our article on our support page, there's actually quite a bit of examples, probably around 15 examples with various cases, which if you're interested, you can check and yeah, try to see if those examples work for you or not. If you have any difficulties, or if you have any questions, or you're not getting the results that you're looking for some reason, of course, you can always contact us and we'll be more than happy to help you out. But this is the idea of the per guest rates, obviously bringing down your number of rates that you had in the system, and basically controlling these different prices based on number of people, number of children, and children ages from just one rate, essentially. So yeah, in addition to this comes the derived rates, obviously. And here we have done an example with a derived rate for the bed and breakfast. And what we have done is that we're using our base price to be the room only rate, and we have added an additional price here. Now, this additional price here is basically the additional price for the breakfast that one guest is paying. So room only, 200 euro, bed and breakfast, 210 euro for one guest. And basically the system will follow this additional 10 euros for every other guest that we add. If then you have an example, or if you have a different price for the child for the breakfast, then you can create a guest level specifically for the child. So each child is at a price of 5 euro extra for the breakfast that they're getting. And of course, again, we can look at our rate and availability screen, and we can then test based on the number of people that we have added, based on the number of children. Basically, are the results correct, and are you getting the price that you want to offer, basically, or you want to sell on? So yeah, these are the per guest rates, the guest levels. As I mentioned, from here you can create many different guest levels, set up various prices, various situations based on the number of children, and have fixed prices that will come on top, or we have percentage pricing out of this base price that we have here. So yeah, Dragomir, do you have anything to add?
Not really. You were actually very thorough with this.
I do, as a matter of fact. I was just thinking about it, for trying to put myself in a hotelier who's working with a lot of tour operators, where they do this. I mean, where they take into account children ages and all this actually. So look from a rates and availability screen perspective. Actually, it has become even a more powerful tool when you're dealing with this. I mean, just think about it. Having company profiles, tour agent profiles, you just attach those rates to the profile. You just enter what you're searching for. I mean, in terms of number of adults, number of children, and that's it. I mean, the systems process everything. There's the rate book, and that's it. I mean, so much easier than before. I love it.
Indeed. So yeah, basically these are the per guest rates. We have actually one very relevant question, and maybe we can maybe jump into our Q&A as nobody has to add anything, and we've explained more or less how these work. Hopefully this was clear. Again, the most important thing is setting up your rates and setting up the levels, checking our examples, of course, and using the rate and availability screen to test the final result. But we have here one question in our Q&A section. How will these rates basically work with any automated yield or revenue management system like Automize or Ideas or Room Price Genie, etc.? So to be honest, in this case, probably we'll need to discuss it with, you need to discuss that with the respective partner that's doing your revenue management. But in our opinion, basically what that would mean is that they need to push to you or suggest to you prices for one adult, basically. And from then on, the guest levels that you set will kick in and add the additional prices on top of that price. So this is something that we're assuming needs to be done. Of course, you need to discuss that with your respective revenue management partner to confirm, essentially. So we have some other questions here. Dragomir, you want to answer some of these questions?
Let's say, so let's start with the first one. Will there be a maximum amount of persons in the rates? Because in your example, people could book a room for 3 adults and 3 children, while we might have a room for 3 people maximum. This is also a very good question. So in the currently, the per guest rates are mainly used in the back office. So generally, you would know how many people your rooms could accommodate. In the eventful future, that we can release the full functionality for the web reservation system. For the web reservation system, there is an extra setting that allows you to specify the maximum number of guests, like the maximum number of adults and the maximum number of guests. So online bookings are controlled through that.
And furthermore, you do have the restrictions in the rates themselves, which can control also will that rate be offered on the web reservation system or not, depending on what the search is. So if you have the respective and correct restrictions in your per guest rates, obviously if somebody's searching for 3 adults and 3 children in the web booking engine, that rate should not be offered if the proper restrictions are applied that will not allow that.
Okay.
Let's see, here we have a question. In rooms with 2 or more adults, can we bill each adult separately? Yes, absolutely. I mean, you do have the option to add as many folios as you need to a booking, and you do have the split charges functionality in the booking. So very easily you can split the charges into 2 and bill each guest separately. Each folio, each invoice can have its separate billing tree information. So yeah, you feel free to do that. If you're not sure how to do that, of course, reach out to our support team, and we'll be more than happy to answer that. How long it will take for the per guest rate to be implemented in channel managers? To be honest, we cannot say at the moment. That would be, yeah. There is quite a redesign that would be needed to the channel mappings in order for this to be implemented. So we cannot say how long this would take. But of course, keep an eye on our update notes yeah, in the future for any improvements to this.
So in terms of copy pasting, the copy functions of the rates should be sufficient to change your guest levels. Like you would just copy, you would make the rate and then you would just copy it with the copy function from the rates. You can use that from the rate search, from the rate plans.
Yeah. We see that a couple of attendees raised their hands. If you have any questions, please write them in the Q&A section, and we'll be more than happy to answer them now. Or yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, because from what I see, all the questions are now, we've covered all the questions until now. If anybody else has anything to add or to ask, please feel free. If not, okay, we have a question.
So just to copy the guest levels without having to copy the entire rate.
Just to copy the guest levels? No, unfortunately. I mean,
no.
A rate can be copied and duplicated basically, and that will duplicate the levels as well. Okay, well, anything else to add, Dragomir, Martin?
Well, my side, I think we're all good so far.
Yes, even though just a few updates, actually they make a lot of sense, especially this one, the per guest rates. That's a really nice feature. I'm pretty sure that it will come in handy to many customers. Oh, Friends, I think that was all for today. Once again, thank you for joining. Please make sure, if you haven't so far, follow us on the LinkedIn, on Zinc, and on YouTube. Please stay tuned for our new updates. The best is still yet to come. And please also remember, the recovery is a matter of when, not if. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Yep, thanks for everyone that has joined. To the second timers, thanks again for joining us for the second webinar. To the first timers, hopefully this is beneficial for you. Obviously, this last update was not that big in terms of different functionalities or different improvements as the last one, but yeah, the per guest rates are actually quite a significant improvement. And yeah, there are still quite a lot of exciting things coming up and improvements coming up. So, and based due to the feedback that we have received from last time, and hopefully from this time, we will continue with these product update webinars and keep you informed about the changes and improvements. So thanks again for joining us, and until next time.